culpable, no culpable o no disputar los cargos?
Culpable.
Guilty.
Does he understand that he is entering this plea without the assistance of a lawyer?
¿Entiende usted que usted se está declarando culpable sin la asistencia o la ayuda de un abogado?
Sí, sí, me estoy declarando culpable. Sin ayuda.
Yes, I'm still pleading guilty.
Does he also understand that by entering the plea, he will not have a trial?
¿También entiende que entrando esta declaración no tiene derecho a tener un juicio? ¿Entiende esto?
In other words, we will take
Hello?
care of his case without a trial.
En otras palabras, si usted es declarándose culpable, acabaremos con su caso el día de hoy sin ir a juicio. ¿Entiende?
Sí,
Yes.
Is he entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
¿Está usted entrando esta declaración libremente y voluntariamente?
gracias.
¿Lo está entrando libremente y voluntariamente?
Sí,
Yes.
And does he understand that he is using interpreting services while entering this plea?
¿Y entiende usted que está usando los servicios de un intérprete al entrar esta declaración de culpable?
sí,
Yes.
Let him know that the court will accept his guilty plea to the driving without a license charge.
Ok, el tribunal el día de hoy va a aceptar su declaración de culpable al cargo de manejar sin licencia de conducir.
muy bien.
Let him
Okay.
know the fine amount is $795.
La multa es de $795.
Ok.
Is he
Okay.
able to pay that within 2 weeks, or does he need to be placed on probation?
¿Puede usted pagar eso entre 2 semanas o lo tenemos que poner bajo libertad vigilada?
Ok, no lo puedo pagar ahorita.
Can I pay it right now?
Tell him he will be directed to the clerk's office momentarily to pay the sum of $795.
Ok, momentáneamente le van a dirigir a que vaya donde la secretaria para que pague la multa de $795.
Ahorita
Yes.
mismo.
Ask
Yes.
him, does he have any questions he wants to ask the court?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta que le quiere hacer al tribunal o al juez?
No.
All right,
No.
thank you. Good morning, Madam Prosecutor.
Ok, gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Interpreter. Good morning, Madam Prosecutor. We're on page 2 of 3. We just disposed of Vicente.
Did you just call me madam?
I did, and I meant Mr. Prosecutor. I don't know. I'm a little mixed up this morning. I did.
Okay, I trying to make sure it's not me.
It's not just you. It was definitely me. Okay?
And Your Honor, may I be excused? This is my only
You
case.
can. I meant Madam Interpreter.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you. You
Thank
guys have
you.
a good day.
you can be
Alright.
excused.
Okay,
All right, Ms.
thanks.
Green, are there any other offenders in the courtroom other than the ones you've told me?
Well, we do have 2 of the witnesses for Miss Thomas, and she's online. So
Okay,
that's it.
that's okay. Now can we go ahead and let the witness, let's let the offenders in the queue, let's let them in.
Okay.
As you all come into the queue, please turn your devices to mute.
Hello?
As you come into the queue for the Forest Park Virtual Court, turn your devices to mute. Please ensure that your full name and your email address is typed in the chat and it's sent to FPMC. Please type your full name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
Hey. Oh,
Make sure your devices remain on mute. Make sure your video is turned on unless you are a police officer. Type your full name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC. Make sure your video is turned on. And make sure your device is turned to mute. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Forest Park Municipal Court. This is our virtual session. Please ensure that you comply with all the requirements of virtual court. First, make sure that your video is turned on at all times. Number 2, make sure that you addressed appropriately. Number 3, make sure that you are sitting up and not laying down and that there are no distractions in your background. Number 4, please ensure that you have proper connectivity. Understand that this virtual session is provided as a privilege to you, and if you violate any of the rules, we will need to terminate your session and require you to physically come down to the courthouse. When you hear your name called, if you will please unmute your device and announce your plea. You have previously entered a not guilty plea, which sets your case down on the non-jury trial calendar, which you requested here in Forest Park. If you are changing your plea to guilty or nolo, please notify accordingly. If you are remaining with your not guilty plea, please reference that as well. Those that are entering a not guilty plea, there will be a trial conducted in your case unless the prosecutor takes certain actions. Again, make sure your video is turned on. There is proper lighting where you are. You are sitting up. You are in a professional setting as far as your background. And of course, you cannot be operating a vehicle while this session is going on. Please pull the vehicle to the side of the road. When you hear your name called, if you will unmute your device and announce your plea, which will be not guilty, guilty, or nolo contendere. Kevin Brown.
Yes.
What is your plea, Mr. Brown?
Nolo.
All right. Is Mr. Brown eligible for a nolo plea?
He has an Alabama license.
All right. Mr. Brown,
No.
do you understand that by entering into the nolo plea, sir, that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
That is correct. Yes.
Sir, are you entering into this plea freely and voluntarily?
Freely.
You do understand that the court is making no representation to you, and it is your responsibility to determine what a nolo plea does to an Alabama license. Do you understand that?
I do not have an Alabama
Judge
license.
Freeman? Judge
Yes.
Freeman, that's my error. I was on the wrong page. He is eligible for a nolo. He does have a Georgia license.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brown, it looks like you have a Georgia license and you are eligible, sir. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Sir, the court will accept your nolo plea. The fine amount is $175. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time to pay this?
I can satisfy that in 2 weeks, sir.
Sir, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have his information?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Brown, by close of business tomorrow, you will receive your plea form through your email, through DocuSign, enter a nolo plea and send it back, and then you will receive a 2-week agreement. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right, please make sure that you comply. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
No, sir.
All right, well, thank you, sir, and you can disengage from the call.
All right, and you have a great day.
You have a great day as well.
Okay.
Norris Dunlap. Norris Dunlap. Norris Dunlap. Mr. Dunlap is FTA at 8:14 a.m. I understand that the gold ware and all the witnesses are here, so I will not call that name. Malcolm Howard.
Yes.
Mr. Howard, I
Yes.
need you to get situated so I can see you, sir.
Can you see me now?
I can. What is your plea to the failure to signal charge?
Not guilty.
All right, we will call your case momentarily for trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I mean, yes, sir.
Next, you can mute your device, sir. Next,
All right.
have you typed your name and email address in the chat, Mr. Howard?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Devin Riley.
Yes, sir.
Devin Riley.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Riley, what is your plea to the charge, sir?
Not guilty.
All right, is Tia Eaglin here?
You can come back. You can come back about 10.
Is Tia Eaglin?
Today? From 8 to 4.
We will wait a moment and come back to that charge. Mr. Prosecutor, it looks like we have the offender, but we do not have the witness.
I'm clear, Judge. You want to hold till 8:30 on that?
That'll be great. Thank you. Brian Sosby.
I'm here.
Mr. Sosby, turn your video on, sir. Let's remove the hoodie from your head, sir. And let us see your face. Mr. Sosby, what is your plea to obstruction of an officer? Is it not guilty, guilty, or nolo contendere?
Not guilty.
All right, thank you. We will call your case momentarily for trial, sir. Thank you. Please mute your device. Jaleesa Thomas?
Judge Freeman,
Yes.
just to let you know, we also have a witness for Mr. Sosby. Her name is Nancy Ramsey, and she is online.
Okay, thank you.
Mother online.
Ms. Ramsey, we will call this case for trial momentarily. You're saying the witness is Nancy Ramsey?
Yes,
His mother online.
All right.
ma'am.
Ms. Ramsey, are you Mr. Sosby's mother?
No,
this
she's not.
Erica.
Okay, thank you. We will have everyone online at the same time. Thank you all. Just mute your devices.
Erica, could you please put on a jacket or
Yeah.
a sweater?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next is Jaleesa Thomas.
I'm here.
Ms. Thomas, what is your plea to the disorderly conduct charge, city ordinance violation, young lady?
Not guilty.
Thank you. We will call your case momentarily for trial. Are there any witnesses in this matter?
Yes, we have Jacoby Frazier and Miss Jones in the courtroom that are witnesses for this case.
Okay, Jacoby Frazier and Ms. Jones.
What's
All
your
right, they are
first name?
present. Okay, thank you. We'll call that case for trial momentarily. Jada Williams.
Not guilty. Are you able to hear me?
I'm trying to also see you on the screen. I don't see Miss Jada Williams.
She has the white cover up and
I do see her now. Yeah,
Okay.
Miss Williams. Now, Miss Williams, you have one of these charges is a document case, which will suspend your license. Was there valid insurance on the car at the date and time? And have you provided that information to the court?
Yes, and I didn't provide the information to the court yet, but I can.
Well, don't you think you need to? Today is your trial day, young lady.
Oh, I wasn't aware of how to provide the information to you guys online. I have documents printed out stating that insurance was on the vehicle. So how do I get it to you guys?
Miss, they will provide you through the chat with an email address if you will mail it, but it needs to show there was valid insurance at the date and time of the stop. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And once you send that in, they will verify that through the department, through your insurance company and the insurance commissioner. Do you understand that?
Yes, correct.
All right, then we will put you down for not guilty, young lady, and we will await you to send the documentation.
Okay.
Can you take care of that, Ms. Yates?
I've already sent her an email.
All right.
I'm sorry, a chat.
All right, she said that concludes the calendar. Let me go back to the first case for trial. Mr. Prosecutor, do you want to start with Charnesia Goldware?
Yes, sir.
All right, if we can have Officer Johnson and Charnicia Goldware, and all the witnesses, Judy Jordan, Jadrian Jackson, Letitia Boyd, Christopher Smith, and Troy Overstreet. Is this Ms. Goldware standing?
Yes, it's me.
All right, Ms. Goldware, what is your plea to? It looks like you have two different, no, you have one charge of disorderly conduct.
Not guilty.
All right. Let me just ask Miss Yates, is it two different charges that happen on the same day, or is this just one charge?
They're co-defendants, they're sisters.
Okay, it's Charnicia, thank you, and Joshana. Is Joshana Goldware available?
She
Yeah,
is.
she's here.
She's coming now.
Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, we're ready whenever you are, sir.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I don't see that Officer Johnson is online. Am I correct?
I was just about to ask that because I don't see him either.
I don't see them either.
Okay.
Do you need the officer, or does the prosecutor just need the witnesses?
No, Judge, we would need the officer on this.
Okay.
I'm getting Sergeant Dane to radio her.
All right, we'll come back to this one then, okay? I'll go to the next one, which is Malcolm Howard.
Officer Malone,
Yeah,
we are on Mr.
I'm out.
Malcolm Howard.
Yes, I'm out.
Anybody inform me of Officer Malone's status?
Stand by. I'm about to go to check the WhatsApp.
Okay, I'll next go to Devin Riley.
I need to turn my mute off.
Yes, please turn your mute back on, sir.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Devin Riley.
Yes, Your Honor.
And
All right.
Judge, that was the one that we had a witness that didn't announce. That was Tia Eaglin.
Right. Is Tia Eaglin here? All right. Is there an announcement in this one?
Yes, Your Honor. City would move to dismiss for want of prosecution.
All right, Mr. Riley,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Yates, do we have his information?
Yes,
All right, Mr. Riley, we are dismissing this case for want of prosecution, but it is not formally dismissed until after you have entered your not guilty plea and sent it back and the court has entered a notice of dismissal. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you will receive your plea form by close of business tomorrow, enter a not guilty plea, send it back through DocuSign, and then the case will be formally dismissed after the court has entered its notice of dismissal. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, do you have any questions?
No, sir. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right, you can disengage from the call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next will be Brian Sosby and Nancy Ramsey and Officer Jackson.
Hey, it went to voicemail. Can you switch back to voice office again?
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, we are on Brian Sosby. It looks like Nancy Ramsey, Mr. Sosby's mother, and Brian Sosby are available. Mr. Sosby, I need for you to get where we can see your face, young man. This will be the last time I'm asking you to take the hoodie off, young man. Your hair looks just fine. Nobody's paying attention.
Well, from that camera angle, we're only getting the top of his forehead, Judge.
Mr. Sosby, you need to adjust your camera so you can be seen. Thank you.
Right, Judge, if we can swear everybody in.
Everyone that's going to testify, Ms. Ramsey, Mr. Sosby, the police officer, and Mom, if you're testifying, everyone raise your right hand.
Yeah.
Brian, raise your right hand, young man. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and outline the facts of the case?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Sosby is before the court because on December 10th of 2022, he received a citation for obstructing an officer. Officer Jackson is the officer who issued that citation. Officer Jackson, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Sosby?
Yes, sir.
And was that contact within the city limits of Morrow?
Yes, sir.
Are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, sir.
City of Forest Park.
City of Forest Park. Yes, sir.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm looking at the road on the citation as Morrow Road.
Yes, you're good.
Yeah,
All right.
city limits of Forest Park. And you did testify that you are a post-certified peace officer with the arrest powers.
Yes, sir.
Could you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, sir. On December 9th, 2022, at approximately 23:18 hours, I responded to 660 Morrow Road in reference to a disorderly children call. Upon my arrival, I met with Nancy Ramsey, who stated that she was shot in the face by a 15-year-old with a pellet gun. While speaking to Ms. Ramsey, she also stated that the 15-year-old was very disrespectful, throwing items and cursing. I contacted my supervisor, who informed me to detain the 15-year-old. In the process of trying to detain the 15-year-old, he went back inside. I placed my foot in the door to keep him from closing the door. The 15-year-old continued to be irate. I then called for another unit. Officer Gladman then responded to the call. We attempted to detain the 15-year-old. However, he went back inside of the house towards the dining room area and continued to be irate. During that time, while trying to detain the 15-year-old, Mr. Sosby then comes in between myself, Officer Gladman, and the 15-year-old, and stated that he was trying to make sure that his brother is not refusing. However, he got in the way of officer's duties. Officer Gladman deployed a taser. The taser did not hit anyone. One prong went inside the floor. The other prong hit the hoodie of Mr. Sosby. Mr. Sosby was then charged with obstructing an officer, and he was arrested by Officer Gladman.
Judge, thank you, officer. That concludes the testimony of the officer. No other questions for him at this time. Judge, I did send you a check. Can you take a look at that real quick?
I did. I don't think we have the 15-year-old, but it looks like Brian. Mr. Brian, how old are you?
I'm 18.
That's why they charged him. And
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Officer, can you go over those facts again for me real quickly?
Yes, sir. While attempting
Tell me
to
what
detain,
Brian Sosby did. I understand what the 15-year-old did, but tell me
Yes,
what
sir.
Brian Sosby did.
Brian interfered with myself and Officer Gladman attempting to detain a 15-year-old. And during that point, Officer Gladman deployed the taser.
What did he do to interfere?
So he got in the way of us trying to detain the 15-year-old. He was trying to grab the 15-year-old while we were attempting to detain him after we gave verbal commands for him to step back.
When you say he was grabbing him, was he grabbing him to calm him down, or was he grabbing him trying to move him to a different room?
Calming him down. I'm not sure.
Sosby, Brian Sosby.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna talk directly to you right now. Okay, so I need for you to sit up and take this real serious. Take your hand off your head. Whatever your views may be of law enforcement, understand this is a very serious charge. It does not go the way, I don't need for you to respond. And if it does not go the way it needs to go, you could very well have a criminal record. So let me get some understanding as to what happened. I need for you to be quiet and be the respectful young man that I know that you are, okay?
Okay.
Please mute your device, Mr. Brian Sosby. All right. So, officer, what you're saying is that when you were trying to deal with this situation with his brother, he grabbed his brother and did what?
He stated that he was trying to refrain him from resisting, but we gave him verbal commands multiple times to step back while we try to detain the 15-year-old.
Okay. And did he in fact grab his brother and attempt to restrain him from resisting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that all that he did?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do, officer, is I'm going to ask you to we're going to explain to this young man that's not what he needs to do, but I don't necessarily want to find him guilty of this particular charge. Okay. And this is a decision the court is making because I want him to understand when you're doing your job, he needs to move out the way, even if he feels like he needs to protect his brother. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, Miss Ramsey. Did Brian Soulsby do anything to you, or was everything done by his brother?
It was by his brother, Kevin Jonathan.
Okay, so
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sure that there's an action pending against his brother in juvenile court, or at some point there will be, and you will be able to go testify to that. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. You can disengage from the call. Thank you, Ms. Ramsey. Now, I'd like to speak to Brian Soulsby's mother and Brian Soulsby. So Brian Soulsby's mother, can you please unmute your device?
It's unmute.
All right, do you and Brian live together?
No.
Okay, so where does Brian and his brother live?
Brian stays in Forest Park with his granddaddy.
He stays with and that's your father, or is that his father's father?
Daddy father.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What do you know about this?
I just got the phone call saying
All right.
that something happened at.
Is the 15-year-old your son?
Yes.
Okay. Have you dealt with him?
I picked him up the same night it happened because he was released to me.
Okay. Well, he has a case coming up, right?
Yes.
Okay. Brian, let me get you to unmute your device.
Yes.
Okay. You are 18 years old. Have you graduated from high school?
No.
What grade are you in?
10.
And where do you attend high school?
Forest Park.
Okay. So I understand that you were trying to calm your brother down, but you do know that when you get in the path of a law enforcement officer doing his thing, you could end up being charged. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So I just need for you to make sure that doesn't happen again, okay?
Okay.
Your brother's just gonna have to deal with this, all right?
Okay.
I'm going to find you not guilty, young man, and dismiss this charge. But I hope that you do not put yourself in this situation again, because it will not happen again.
I will not.
All right, now by tomorrow, you're going to receive a plea form. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes.
All right, you're going to receive your plea form tomorrow by close of business. You're going to enter a not guilty plea and send it back to me. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Once I get it back, I can then dismiss this case. If you don't take the time to send it back, you're going to have an open charge, and I'm going to give you a new court date. And that time, I'm not going to dismiss it, okay?
Okay.
Handle your business. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Now, let me say this to you. The next time you have a court session, I need for you to take it real serious. You know you don't come to court with no hoodie on your head, okay?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And you also know you don't keep moving your hands through your hair, because that's not the presentation you want to make to the court. Now, is it?
No.
You want to let me know that you are a responsible young man that handles your business, right?
Yes.
And that way I can take you serious. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, dude, you take care of yourself. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yeah.
Ms. Yates, yeah is not a word.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Yates, do we have his information?
Yes, we have it.
All right, Brian, you take care of yourself. Get to school, all right?
Okay.
Take care. Thank you, Officer Jackson, on that one.
Yes, sir.
Next is Jaleesa Thomas. Jaleesa Thomas.
I'm here.
All right, and I think we have witnesses Jacoby Frazier and Miss Jones, and I don't know if Officer Rolax is available.
He's no longer employed with the city.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, do you need the officer for this?
You, Judge.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, sir.
We do, Judge. We do need the officer.
Okay,
Judge Freeman,
yes,
this was a 90-day continuance.
okay. And what did I put on there? What would happen? Can
To
I
ensure
hear
that
from
the-
Miss- Can I hear from Miss Frazier and Miss Jones to see if there's been any additional encounters?
No, it's not.
So from Jacoby Frazier,
Yeah, it's not.
and how about Miss Jones?
Everything is fine.
All right, then we will dismiss this case against Miss Thomas, all right? Thank you all. Make sure she signs her plea form.
Judge, may I make a request?
You certainly can.
Can it stay just as is, that she stay off the property? Everything is fine, just the way it is. We have no problem, but
Miss Thomas, let me have you to come up. Where are you, Miss Thomas?
I'm right here on video.
All right, did you hear what is being said? They are agreeing to the dismissal as long as you stay off the property.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to comply with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, what is the property?
4111 O'Hara Road, Forest Park.
4111 O'Hara Road, Forest Park. All right, and is that someone's home?
Mine.
All right, so Miss Thomas, you understand that Miss Jones does not want you on her property and you agree to stay away from her property. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, then what I will do is dismiss this case subject to that. If you violate that, then we will reinstate the charges. Do you understand that, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have anything you'd like to say, Ms. Thomas?
No,
All right, then Ms. Thomas, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
I'm doing it right now. I sent it to the wrong person.
Send it to FPMC.
The last time I put my email in here, I didn't receive anything about this court date, and I had to actually call up here. I meant to the court.
Let's make sure that you have your full name and email address in the chat. That way you won't have that problem again.
Okay.
We mail out reset letters.
Right,
Okay.
and you guys sending it to the wrong address.
Well, is that the address that's on your driver's license?
No.
All right. Then also put your current address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
Okay.
Put your name, your email address, and your full address.
Okay.
And Ms. Yates, Ms. Thomas, if you will stay on the line until Ms. Yates has told me she has received all that information.
Okay.
I will go back to the beginning of the calendar, Mr. Prosecutor. And you tell me which officer you're ready to proceed with. Is Johnson available?
Officer Jackson is.
No, Johnson.
Johnson just logged on.
I'm here.
Okay, so we have Johnson now. Do you want us to go with the Goldware matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let me have Charnicia Goldware and Jershana Goldware. All the witnesses, Judy Johnson, Jadrian Jackson, Letitia Boyd, Christopher Smith, and Troy Overstreet, and Officer S. Johnson.
Your Honor, we also have Deanne Riley here as a witness for the Goldware sisters.
Okay, thank you. She's a witness for the Goldware sisters. Okay, thank you. All right. Everyone that's going to testify, if you will please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
Good. Has everyone typed their full name and their email address in the chat? Ms. Green, do we have not guilty pleas from Charnicia and Jershana Goldware?
Yes, they filled it out already.
Okay. Mr. Prosecutor, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, and I'll start with Charnicia Goldware, but I think that the testimony is probably going to apply to both, or the facts are going to apply to both, because all of this occurred simultaneously. On December 9th of 2022, Ms. Charnicia Goldware and Ms. Jershana Goldware were cited with disorderly conduct by Officer Johnson. Officer Johnson, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Sharnesia and Joshana Goldware?
Yes, I did.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, it was.
Are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, I am.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
My trainee and I both contacted them by phone and asked them to meet us at the Forest Park Police Department, which they did come up there, and we talked to both of them together and individually.
Okay.
And they both gave similar stories, but the fact that we had witnesses that gave us different stories.
All right, and what was the stories that you were given? I'm sorry, what did you ended up charging both of them with disorderly conduct. Can you state why you did that?
Because at the time, we didn't know if they physically put their hands on the victim. So they both did say they came up there and trying to get their check, and they both were arguing back and forth with the victim.
Okay, and that victim being Mr. Jackson?
Correct. I think it was Mr. Jackson.
The victim is Troy Overstreet.
Troy Overstreet, okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. Okay, so in your investigation, you determined that based on the statements that they gave you, that they did go back up to the business location, make contact with Mr. Overstreet, and at some point an argument ensued that disrupted the public peace or breached the public peace in the sense that it was a disturbance that caused a lot of attention and called you guys to be out there to, cause the police to be called in reference to it. I understand that your statement also is that you met with them at the police department because I guess at the time, nobody was at that location where it occurred. So you had them meet you at the police department after.
Correct.
All right. Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Charnesia, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer? I need for you to speak up, young lady.
No, I lost my voice. I'm sorry.
All right. And Joshana, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
I would like to ask, on the day that I was charged with disorderly conduct, you called us back in, you gave me a ticket and you sent me home. And then on the following day, when you called us back in for further questioning, you arrested me for the same charge.
Yes, after further investigation, after talking to numerous witnesses and they all giving us the same story, we did call y'all back in and we did charge y'all and take y'all to jail for.
Okay, so we received the report from the incident, and we read all of the statements and all of the witnesses that you all had. The stories are different. And even when we were telling you.
So Ms. Goldware, remember, this is the phase where you ask a question.
Okay.
So make this a question, but you're going to get to hear from most of the witnesses because I want to know what's going on. So based on what this officer told you, do you have any questions you want to ask her?
No.
All right, thank you. You want to call your next witness, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. So the city would call Mr. Overstreet.
All right. Mr. Overstreet, you are under oath, sir. If you'll please respond to the questions from the prosecutor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Overstreet, on the date in question, were you involved in some sort of a disturbance or altercation with both Sharnesia and Joshana Goldware?
Yes, sir.
And could you briefly, let me ask, did you call the police department in reference to that incident?
I wasn't able to call because I was attacked at the time and pepper sprayed, but other witnesses that are online actually called police.
Okay, did you identify which witness did?
I believe it was maybe Miss Judy's online, Miss Boyd's online, Chris Smith is online. So someone of that nature from Amazon and on the property called the 911.
Okay, but you're not aware of which person did that?
I'm not, no.
So can you state to the court how the incident occurred from your position?
From my position at 9:30, approximately 9:30, that day, I was at Amazon in the parking lot property. And Shanisha and Joshana pulled up to the parking lot area. Both got out, were saying they wanted their check. I told them I did not have their physical check, and that the owner, Mr. Jackson, was on the way to the station with their check. They began to, Shanisha, trying to think. So Shanisha started arguing and getting loud. I started arguing, getting loud, and she's just a lot of back and forth at that point. She then came over to a table that I had set up with phones, keys, that type of stuff to get ready for today. And she flipped the table over. At that time, I reached over, I was gonna grab something out of her car, but I never grabbed anything. And next thing I know, there was a third person that was in the back seat that I did not know was there. Her name is Valencia, and she pepper sprayed me from the back. Once they pepper sprayed me, I fell to the ground and they began kicking me. Shanisha and the other girl, Valencia.
Okay, and so at that point, that's when the altercation, somebody came in and tried and broke it up, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and so what did you do then? I understand that people were rendering aid to you because you were pepper sprayed and you were assaulted, but what happened after that, if you can recall?
After that, well, the owner shows up and with the checks, as I stated, he was on the way. And they just rendered first aid and nothing else happened regarding the situation here.
Did the two sisters stay on the scene?
No, they actually fled.
Okay, and so they were the checks were never delivered to the young lady who was expecting, who came up there for her check.
No, both of them were employed with Amazon.
Okay.
And both came for their check. So they both quit together. And the last check is always issued paper check. And so that's the reason why that Mr. Jackson had the checks and we're on the way with the checks.
All right, no further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right, thank you. Mr. Overstreet, I heard you say that Valencia and Charnesia assaulted you, Valencia with the pepper spray, and then Charnesia and Valencia start kicking you. You did not mention Joshana. Did she do anything to you?
Joshana did not, no, sir.
Okay, Joshana did nothing to you. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna let Joshana, do you have any questions you want to ask Mr. Overstreet?
Yes. So why in your statement you stated that I began to punch you?
So Joshana, let me just say this to you, and this is why sometimes people should go get themselves a lawyer. He says you've done nothing under oath. So you can ask whatever questions you want to ask, but understand that raising certain points makes that a factual issue that I'm going to have to decide as to whether he was telling the truth at the time he did the report or whether or not he is telling the truth today. You understand that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Now, with that said, do you have any questions that you want to ask Mr. Overstreet?
No.
Excuse me?
No.
All right. Ms. Charnesia, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Overstreet?
No.
All right. You want to call your next witness, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. The city's going to call Judy Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Johnson, on the date in question, did you witness an altercation that included Mr. Overstreet and one, if not both, of the Goldware sisters?
Yes.
Okay, and could you state to the court what you witnessed?
My company is next door to Jackie's company, and I had just released my company,
and was walking, proceeding to go to the yard to help load out with my company. And I heard someone yelling, "Stop," a female voice. So I turned around to look to see what's going on. And I noticed that a gray car, I noticed that it was some females and some of the workers from Mr. Jackie were in a huddle. So I turned to walk over there and I noticed that the females, because I couldn't make faces, were trying to strike at Mr. Troy. And next thing you know, someone from the back seat, a heavyset female, got out the back seat, and then someone yelled pepper spray. So I started yelling, "Y'all stop." And then I noticed one of the workers for Mr. Jackie, he was trying to hover over Mr. Troy, because by then Mr. Troy was down on the ground. So I immediately called 911 because I know Mr. Troy and I are up in age. So, and he had just recovered from being ill. So he was kind of weak because he had just returned to work. So as I was going toward the area, I noticed a heavyset young lady they jumped back in the gray car and they pulled off. I did take a picture of the car leaving the scene. And I went and helped them like pick up the rabbits and stuff off the ground. And I notified someone from Amazon to come over to learn of the situation.
Okay. No further questions for this witness, Judge. You're on mute, sir.
Ms. Joshana Goldware, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Ms. Johnson?
No.
All right, Ms. Charnicia Goldware, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Ms. Johnson?
No.
All right, you want to call your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. So the city would call Mr. Jardrain Jackson.
All right, Mr. Jackson, you two are under oath, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to witness any of the events that have been testified to here regarding Mr. Overstreet?
Somewhat, yes, sir. So basically, I got a phone call from Troy. Well, let me back up. The day prior to the incident, I gave Troy a call, let him know I was going to be on my way with the check the following day, which is typical for me. I typically hand out checks to people who are no longer with the company if I'm informed prior to submission of payroll. So that way I can collect their badges and their vests. Okay. So the day of, I got a call from Mr. Overstreet informing me that the gold wares were up at the building and they were causing trouble. I can hear them in the background, all the yelling and everything. So I told Troy to remain calm and I will take care of it. I'm already on my way. Before I know it, I hear all the commotion in the background. I lose connection with Troy, the phone failed. I get a call about 2 minutes later. I believe it was from Chris Smith informing me of what was going on, that the gold wares had pepper sprayed him and he had been jumped on. And that the ambulance was there and they were going to take him to the EMT was looking at them.
So any information that you have in regards to this is based on information that you were given. You didn't actually witness any of the events. Is that correct?
That's correct. 100% correct.
Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right, Ms. Joshana Goldware, do you have any questions you'd like to ask this gentleman?
No.
Ms. Charnicia Goldware, do you have any questions you'd like to ask this gentleman?
Nope.
Now, Ms. Charnicia Goldware, I will tell you that based on the testimony of Troy Overstreet, he has included you in this incident. He's completely said your sister had nothing to do with it. So I hope that the fact that you're not asking questions is based on the fact that you truly have no questions. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Because if you do have some questions, now would be the time for you to ask them. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So with that said, do you have any questions with the gentleman that just testified? You don't have to. I just wanted to make you aware of that.
No.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, are there any other witnesses? It sounds like you have. Are there any other witnesses you need to call, sir?
Other witnesses, Judge.
All right. Does the city rest?
The city rests.
All right. The city has rested. I'm going to let you speak first, Ms. Charnicia Goldware. Is there anything that you'd like to say, young lady? And you don't have to, but if you'd like to say something, and understand if you do testify, the prosecutor does have the right to ask you questions. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm looking at, I received the police report and I'm looking at all of the statements. It's saying that I put my hands on him and he put his hands on me, when actually neither one of us laid hands on each other at all. Only thing that I will admit to is that I flipped the table. But as far as putting my hands on Overstreet, that never took place. He was pepper sprayed by Valencia Todd, and they engaged in physical altercation because when she pepper sprayed him, he grabbed her and they both went down to the ground. I was picking up the scarf that he had picked up, that he admitted to, that he reached inside my car, but he picked up a red scarf and threw it at me. And that time I picked up the red scarf, and during that time is when he was being pepper sprayed. So as far as Judy Johnson, her seeing everybody huddled up, that was because it all happened around my car. Everything took place around my car. Also in the statements, it's saying that Christopher said that Troy got upset and threw a water bottle down to the ground and walked away. That's inaccurate. That never happened. Jadrian said something about he received phone calls. He called me before I even left the property of Amazon. He called my phone. No one informed me that he was on the way to the property, because if that had been told to me, none of this would have taken place. I would have sat there in the parking lot and waited for Jadrian to get there with my check. And Letitia Boyd was the one who told us to leave the scene because of all of the commotion that had took place.
Okay.
That was the only reason why we fled the scene. Had I known, I would have stayed there because I would have known my check was on the way to receive my check. That's what I came there for. And me being irate initially, that only happened after Overstreet said to me, he has his check, he doesn't know where mine is. And he proceeded to call me out of my name several times. And that's when I got frustrated and upset, me knowing that Overstreet had been sick, had just came back. I know this because I was the manager. The only reason why I was upset at the time was because I was the manager that would receive the checks on Wednesday or Thursday. Out of the entire year that I worked for this company, checks had never been late. Jadrian would always send his nephew or his cousin, or I'm not sure how his relation was, but he would send him up there to Amazon property to relay the checks to me, for me to put them in the cage, and then on Friday pass the checks out. So that whole him coming up there passing out checks, that's false. He has done it before, but on this particular time, I feel like it was something done personal towards me and my sister, because checks have never been late.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions, sir?
I do.
Okay.
Ms. Goldware, do you know Miss Johnson, Judy Johnson?
No, but I have seen her in the facility. I know she does work at another DSP.
All right. Did you hear her testimony in reference to what she witnessed?
Yes, I heard it.
Did you hear her testify that she saw two young women beating on Mr. Overstreet?
Right, which is incorrect.
And so do you believe that she has any reason to lie?
She can only tell you what she saw from a distance. She said she wasn't able to make out faces, which is understandable. But,
But there were only 3 females that were at that location with you, right? You're saying this lady, Miss Valencia Todd, and your sister. So if it was 2 out of the 3, it was either your sister and Miss Valencia Todd, or you and Miss Valencia Todd.
Also, Ms. Boyd was there to help break up the fight. So that would explain, well, really wasn't a fight. It was just to get Troy up off the floor. He was there, she was there along with Christopher.
So let me ask you this. At no point are you saying that you had any physical contact with Mr. Overstreet?
Exactly. Only thing was he was in my face yelling, and I walked from in front of him. I walked around him and flipped the table over.
Right. And at no point did you state to Officer Johnson that you had physical contact with Mr. Overstreet?
I did state that to her when we were interviewed, when we came back to the station to be questioned about the incident.
No further questions, Judge.
All right. Ms. Joshana Goldware, do you want to make any statements? You do not have to, but if you'd like to, you can. Understand anything you say, you are subject to cross-examination from the prosecutor. I didn't hear you, Ms. Joshana Goldware.
No.
All right. Do you all have any witnesses that you'd like to call on your behalf?
Yes, I have Deanna Riley here with
All
me.
right. If Ms. Riley will please come forward.
Good
All
morning.
right. Ms. Riley, let me have you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You were sworn in before. What would you like to say about this incident, young lady?
I don't have any information on the incident at all, but I am a previous employee of Jadrian, and I'm here to let you all know my check was direct deposit. I did not have to turn in a uniform nor a badge.
Okay. All right. So you didn't see what happened?
No.
All right. Does the prosecutor have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Miss Riley, thank you for your testimony. All right, Miss Charnicia or Joshana, are there any other witnesses you all want to call?
No, that's it.
Do you two rest your case?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, are there any additional witnesses that you need to call?
No, Your Honor.
All right. The court has heard the testimony of Charnicia Goldware and Joshana Goldware in the matter that happened at the Amazon parking lot. Both are charged with disorderly conduct. The court has heard from the witnesses Troy Overstreet, Judy Johnson, and I believe Christopher Smith, if I'm not mistaken. Both have been charged with a city ordinance violation of disorderly conduct. Is it a city ordinance violation, Mr. Prosecutor, or is it the misdemeanor charge?
Judge, I have it as 11 code.
Okay.
I believe, yes. So it's 11 code on there. It's going to be, I think it was Officer Johnson intended for it to be a city ordinance violation. Is that correct, Officer Johnson?
Yes.
All right. All right, then this will be a city ordinance violation of disorderly conduct. The court has heard the evidence and the court finds as follows. As it relates to Joshana Goldware, the court finds Joshana Goldware not guilty of the charge of disorderly conduct. As it relates to Charnicia Goldware, the court finds Charnicia Goldware guilty of the violation. The fine amount is $430. She will be placed on probation for 6 months. This is Charnicia Goldware. She will be placed on probation for 6 months. While on probation, she must take an anger management course and provide proof of completion to probation. So the condition of her probation is that she will pay the sum of $430 and she will take an anger management course and provide proof of completion to probation. Ms. Charnicia Goldware, both of you all will receive you've received your plea form. Ms. Charnicia Goldware, you will be directed to probation. That will conclude this matter. Thank you for everyone that's on the line. You all can disengage. And Ms. Green, if you will direct Ms. Charnicia Goldware to probation.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next will be Malcolm Howard.
Just fill out, this is for probation. Just fill out everything and sign.
Malcolm Howard.
Yes.
And Officer Malone.
Yes, Judge.
All right. Are we ready to call this case, Mr. Prosecutor?
Sharon, let me pull that up real quick.
I don't know if this was an accident.
Sir.
Malone, was this an accident?
Yes, Judge. I believe this was an accident.
All right.
I'm trying to pull up the report right now.
I don't have a report on that on my file, Judge.
She told us, I think you think about that kind of water. Oh, that is.
I am hearing some noise in the background. Can we please minimize it?
That's coming from my end, Judge. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I'm back on, Judge.
Oh, you're fine.
You able to locate the report?
I was not able to locate the report to that call. This is a citation.
Okay, so let me just ask Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard,
Yes.
were you involved in a motor vehicle accident on the date that you got the citation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Yates?
I'm trying to get the report for you. One moment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll go to the next one, which is Jada Williams. Have we been able to verify insurance for Ms. Williams?
Judge Freeman, she sent us the document. However, I did call the insurance company. They advised that her insurance was canceled in October of 2021 and was not reinstated.
All right, Ms. Williams, you did not have insurance at that time.
Okay, I have the paper, so I have a receipt. The
Yeah,
insurance.
having the receipt doesn't matter. I will just tell you that you did not have insurance. Let me tell you what my concern is, young lady. If you are convicted of this, it's going to result in the suspension of your license. So you did not have insurance. You tell me they're ready to go to trial in your case. If you want to change your plea and see if you're eligible for a NOLO plea, I don't mind you doing that. If not, we will go to trial. And if you are convicted, understand it will result in a suspension.
Okay, so I have a question for you
Young
because
lady, can I please have you to put a sweater or a jacket on?
I have a cover.
Okay, please keep the cover on.
I apologize. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so basically what I was saying is there was no insurance on the vehicle. There was insurance on the vehicle, but it had to get paid. So once we paid the insurance, there's a receipt saying that the insurance was paid. I have confirmation receipts.
Well,
I
let me do this, Ms. Williams. If you feel comfortable going to trial with that, I will let you go to trial with it. I just don't want you to be surprised if you come up short. So I'm gonna let you go to trial with that, okay? And I'll let you testify to all of that and I'll make a decision, okay? So we won't get into that right now. I just wanted to give you some information that your insurance company is reporting you did not have coverage on that day and at that time. So I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Judge Freeman,
Yes.
she is eligible for NOLO.
Okay. So Ms. Williams, we will let you stick by your not guilty plea and we will come back to you. Okay, young lady?
Okay, I have a question. So when she says someone, are she speaking about me? Am I eligible for NOLO or this is someone else?
No, she's talking about you if you wanted to change your plea to NOLO, but let me let you think about it a moment. Let me get with the prosecutor and I will come back to you.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, has a decision been made on Mr. Malcolm Howard?
Yes, Your Honor. So on Mr. Malcolm, there was a witness on that was Vashawn Lewis. I don't believe that person is in the courtroom or online. Can we announce? Vashawn Lewis. Having heard no announcement, Judge, the city would move to dismiss for warrant of prosecution for Mr. Malcolm. I'm sorry,
All right,
Mr.
Mr. Howard, the city is dismissing your case for warrant of prosecution, sir. Do you understand that?
Thank you, sir.
You will receive through your email by close of business tomorrow your plea form to which you will enter a not guilty plea. And once we've received your not guilty plea, then the court will enter a dismissal. If you fail to send your plea form back, this case will not be dismissed. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Sir, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have his information, Ms. Yates?
Yes.
All right, then Mr. Howard, you can disengage, sir.
All right.
Thank you. Now, I think we can release all officers except for Officer Thicklin. Is that correct, Mr. Prosecutor? I think all officers except for Thicklin can be released. Is that correct?
It does appear that. So did we determine what we were going to do with Miss Williams?
No, that's why I said I want Thicklin to stay on.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
all officers except for Thicklin.
Yes.
Okay, all officers except for Thicklin, thank you all, and you all can get back to duty. All right, now let's get back to Ms. Williams. So Ms. Williams, we are calling your case for the failure to maintain insurance charge and the stop sign violation. It looks like you are eligible for a no-low plea. The fine for no insurance is $695, or you can say judge not guilty and we can proceed with your trial.
I'm trying to decide what I want to do based off my information. So can you just give me a second? Because I'm not sure how the insurance company is saying that there wasn't insurance on the vehicle, and they're sending me, I have paperwork from them that I printed out from the insurance company. And if there was no insurance on the vehicle, I thought legally your vehicle is supposed to get towed if you don't have insurance on it. So why was the vehicle not towed if it was not insured?
Because that's left up to the sound discretion of the police officer as to whether or not he will tow your vehicle and take you into custody.
Okay.
Sometimes the police officers choose not to do it, and that's a decision that they make.
Okay, so basically all I wanted to just bring to your attention, I don't know if it's relevant or not, but the ticket was issued to me at 421. Insurance was paid at 328. So I'm not sure if it went through yet or if it needed to take time, but I have proof saying that payments and the insurance was on the card, and we have confirmation from Geico, and I have my other papers that I printed out from them stating that it was insurance, and I emailed it over to her.
Okay, so what I am telling you, Ms. Williams, is that the information you sent over, they have verified. Your insurance company is saying there was no coverage. Here is what I'm going to do. Is Thicklin available for next Wednesday, Ms. Green? When is his next trial date? I want her to come in person.
Stand by, Judge Freeman, I'll check.
What I'm gonna do, Ms. Williams, is I'm gonna continue your case because, young lady, right now, they're telling me you don't have insurance, okay? Now, if you decide you wanna go forward with this, but I'm gonna give you a little time to think about it, all right?
Okay.
And that'll also, but all this paper that you say you have, your insurance company is saying you did not have insurance. And I'll be honest with you, you need to contact your insurance company. In fact, I would have thought that you had contacted them before the date because they may tell you the same thing, that you did not have insurance on that day. So it lets me know you have not reached out to them. So why don't we do this? Why don't we continue this until 1 o'clock today to give her time to reach out to her insurance company, and we can lock this down. Thicklin does not need to be available at 1 o'clock.
Okay, so what do I need to do?
You need to call your insurance company and find out why you did not have insurance on that day. Or you need to get from them something showing you did have insurance. But if it turns out to be that you did not have insurance, I'm sure you're going to change your plea. But if not, we'll set it down on a trial calendar, okay?
Okay.
So you need to zoom back in at 1 o'clock today. Do you understand that? And you would have spoken to your insurance company before then. Do you understand that?
Yes, so I need to call them today and come back to Zoom meeting at 1 o'clock.
And you will get the person's name and number you spoke to, and you will have them to send you something, either showing you did have insurance or they will tell you you didn't have insurance. That way you will know. Do you understand that?
Okay, so I'm about to contact it. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
I can. Miss Williams, let me do this. You seem to be having a few issues. Have you spoken to the insurance company since this happened?
No, not since this incident happened. I only spoke with them so I can get this information once I've got it. Once
Okay,
I've gotten
well,
it.
I think that's where you need to start, okay? That's where you need to start. All right. So I'm gonna see you back on this call at 1 o'clock, and you can let me know. Well, I'm gonna let you talk to them, but we know that you did not have insurance at the time, okay? but I'm gonna give you a few hours to investigate this. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So we will see you back at 1 o'clock. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, I have earlier when I first logged on.
Ms. Yates, do we have her information?
Yes, we do.
All right, then Ms. Williams, we will see you back at 1 o'clock. And we are resolved that you did not have insurance, but if you can provide something to the contrary, I will certainly listen to you. All right, do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
And you are eligible for a no-low plea, but if you decide to stick with your not guilty plea, we will go ahead and handle your trial. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, we will see you back at 1 o'clock, young lady.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, no problem.
Your Honor, we have Ms. Sanjalin here from probation, and she has two of her clients here as well.
Yeah, remember we reset them for 1 o'clock per Sony yesterday.
Right, I explained that to her, but she said that if they can work it out, that she would come in at this morning.
No, she will come in at 1 o'clock.
All right, thank you very much.
No problem.